Well, I often say that there are many things that are much more important than grammar in language learning, right? So what happens is that when you trying to learn a language, you're learning Italian, for example. So what happens is that every time that we make a mistake or don't know how to have a, we don't know how to express ourselves, or the person didn't understand us fully, then we start, there is an internal process of self-blame. You can notice this self-judgment, self-blame. Oh, you don't know the language. Oh, you need to review the present indicative form of whatever. So this process of reacting to the mistake, the perceived mistake, or the perceived underperformance in our fluency, is actually, what I realize is actually, this is not important at all. Like, there are other things that are much more important that make much more of a difference in your fluency, and they're actually constant. So what is it? What it means? So let's say that I'm speaking. Okay, so this friend of my friend, they introduce me to their family. Oh, that's so cool. How are you doing? Oh, and then I don't know what to say, or I don't have the right word to say, or I would like to say something, but it doesn't come out the right way, or perhaps they didn't understand me well. So any kind of, let's call them underperformance, or a mistake, or there are things that, as I was saying, that are much more important than reviewing the grammar. That might be important here sometimes, but as I was saying, these three things are much more important than the all grammar arguments that you can ever make. The emotional state that you're in. How many times, even in your native language, you didn't know what to say, it didn't come out the right way, you felt stuck, blocked, don't know what to say, came out weird. Oh, the person, even in your native language. So this comes down to the emotional state that you're in, the very emotion, the emotion that you're feeling in that specific moment. Why is that important? Because when you are in a let's call them non-productive, non-optimal emotional state. Let's say you meet someone for the first time and you get, I don't know who these people are. You have an important meeting. There is some kind of emotionality. Okay, you're speaking with a person that there is something unresolved with that person, and so there is some kind of emotionality there. Okay, now this kind of emotionality is going to play a major role in your fluency. Why? Because the fluency, like when we are in that emotional state there, let's call them non-optimal emotional state, what you know, your fluency or your practice takes a backseat, okay? And so you can see that the emotional part of us takes over, and that is true for the language you're learning. That is true with your native language. So point is, it's not the fault. It's not it's not the fault of the language you're learning. The point is. So no matter how much practice you make, how many conjugations and verb endings and exceptions and pronunciation rules you make, if at the end of the day, if the emotion that you, when it comes to that specific moment when you open your mouth and you speak, the emotion that you're in is not an emotion that is kind of empowering or uplifting, what you know, it's as if you didn't know. Okay, so point why? Because it's the emotion that you're feeling in a specific moment. So let's say that the emotionality that you're in is I'm scared of being judged, you know, like I don't want to give a bad impression, or which has nothing to do with the language, you know. There is this thing going on with this person, we didn't resolve this thing, you know. this emotionality is going to play a major invisible factor in all the rest of the speaking part. Okay, so this invisible factor of emotionality is a major factor. It's not how much grammar you know. I mean, you can learn all these things and go I am, you are, io sono, tu sei, lui è, noi siamo, voi siete, si sono in Italian, and you've made fry, you know how to use it because you've practiced, right? But then in that specific moment, when it's time to express yourself and then it doesn't come out, why? Because the emotionality that you're in that moment is overriding temporarily, because the knowledge is still there, is temporarily overriding what you know and all the practice you made. Okay, so point is that it has nothing to do with the language. And then later on in this part of the video we're going to see what we can do about it. So articulation ability. So another key factor, much more important than any technical detail or grammar, is the ability to articulate. The ability to articulate is, in my opinion, kind of independent of language, of languages. Kind of, yeah. But the point that the ability to articulate, let's say that you have something in mind you really want to say, you have this idea, but you don't really communicate it well in the language you're learning. Okay, let's say you're learning Italian and trying to communicate this idea. I'm feeling this and I have this idea and this, but you don't really communicate it. Now, this happens also in your native language. Okay, so point is, it's not the language you're learning. Okay, and all the story that comes with it. Next point is, you simply don't have enough experience in that specific subject. Let's say that you're conversating, you're with friends, okay, and you don't know what to say, or you don't really showcase that you're fluent. Or you might have a moment where you're not that fluent and you wonder, oh, what's up? Am I not fluent? Oh, I was fluent. Am I not fluent now? Oh, what's happening? Oh my goodness. Did I lose the knowledge? Did I lose practice? I need to practice more. Oh my goodness. Wait, you simply don't have experience in that topic. So when you don't have experience in the topic, you don't have the right vocabulary. Or perhaps there is a personal slang that this person is using. You simply don't know what's it because you don't have experience in the topic. This happens also in your native language. Okay, so the point is, whenever you have a moment of doubts of this kind of oh my goodness, I need to this kind of moments of emotionality and all the details of thought that come with it. Ask yourself, simply take a step back from a moment and really review this point. Is it simply the emotional state that I was in that was not productive, the optimal? I was not in an optimal emotional state. I was tired, a little bit anxious. It was the first time of getting to know this specific situation. So also remember that when it's the first time of something, it's the first time of a conversation, it's the first time of a person, it's the first time that when it's the first times of something, it naturally there is an emotionality because you're not used to it. Okay, so expect that in that moment the fluency level might decrease a little bit, not because you've lost knowledge, not because you're not fluent, but because the emotionality is taking over. Okay, so it's okay to not be fluent every time, and to have the impression that you're being fluent in a specific situation, but actually you're still fluent and you have still retained your knowledge. Simply in the situation, it wasn't, perhaps you were not in a optimal emotionality state, an optimal state of emotion, not an optimal emotional state. Perhaps there was a concept that perhaps you wouldn't have been able to explain even in your native language, or simply it was a matter of you didn't have the right vocabulary or not enough vocabulary for that specific subject. Perhaps in this specific interaction there was a lot of slang or a lot of things that you've never met, or perhaps you didn't have experience or even interest in a topic. And imagine what happens when you're not interested in something. You're not interested. You're like, okay, so as a consequence, you will not have also all the fluency because you're simply not interested in something, or because you don't have an experience in something. Okay, so not enough. So all these things here play a major. I would say these are let's call them the invisible factors. They play a role in that very moment or in a conversation of how the fluency that is going to come out. So all these things they can hinder your fluency, meaning that let's say that your fluency is like, let's say 7 out of 10. You're understood, people understand you. Sometimes you don't know a word, but you can kind of manage it. Say a 7. Okay, let's say a 7 out of 10. Okay. So they can hinder. So the real fluency is 7. The perceived fluency in that specific moment is say 4, because of all these factors. Or they can help. Okay. So you put yourself out there. You ask more questions. You're more dynamic. So they can hinder or they can help. Okay. So now that we've identified this major thing, so what do we do? Okay. So this is what I do, and this is what helps me a lot to recontextualize. So it means to whenever there is a moment of doubt or oh shit, it's difficult, I can do it, and I need to, on any kind of moment of okay, to take a step back, okay, and to review, like to simply ask myself, to have this kind of conversation with myself. Okay, was I simply not in an optimal emotional state? Oh yeah, you see, actually I was a little bit tired, Actually, I was a little bit anxious because I didn't know what these people were like. It's the first time. It was the first time for me to meet these people. Like, actually, I was never in this situation, so I felt a little bit out of context, out of water. A fish out of water. Okay, it makes sense. Okay. That's it. So now you know what the real problem was. So now you know. Okay, how can I expose myself more to the situation, or those things, those emotionality, emotionality, where does it come from? Okay, and you're going to realize it has pretty much nothing to do with the language most of the time. So ability to articulate. Perhaps I simply didn't know how to articulate that, and perhaps I wouldn't have been able to articulate it even in my native language. So okay. So what? How can I express it better next time around? How can I explain it more concretely and more simply? Okay. So again, it has nothing to do with the language, because probably you do the same with your native language as well. So, experience in the topic. Okay, I simply didn't have enough experience or even interest in the topic. So I didn't engage. So as I didn't engage, the thoughts didn't come up. I didn't know what to say because I was not interested. I was not perhaps paying attention. It's not something that was getting my attention. It's not something that I had experience in. So, this point is going to hopefully to help you to reframe, to recontextualize when you have moments of down moments. Let's put it this way. Moments of doubt or low emotionality. Let's go. Okay. So after a conversation after moments where you were not fluent, after moments where you feel like that you're not giving your best, and you thought you knew, but you didn't showcase that, or didn't come out. Now you're able to assess more realistically what the real problem was, and if there is something to do, what you can do about it. Thank you, and if you enjoy it, you can just let me know, and thank you for this video. Thank you for watching.